Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Today is the day. The wait list already knows this, but for everyone else, I want you to know too. This is pretty important stuff. I have a brand new coaching offer and enrollment is happening right now. So listen carefully. From now until June 30th, you can enroll as a founding member into the MFR Coaches 12-month Business Foundation program, where you'll create the foundation for your six-figure MFR business. And you heard that right. It's a 12-month program. When you enroll as a founding member by June 30th, you will get these bonuses: my 350-page workbook printed and delivered to your door, instant access to the course portal with all of my digital trainings, materials, and coaching replay calls. You'll also get a payment plan. This program is a $3,000 investment. When you enroll before June 30th, you get the option to make payments at no extra cost to you. Let me tell you a little bit about what you can expect while you're in this program. Starting August 1st, we will have live weekly coaching calls on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Central. These calls will run for the entire length of your 12-month program, and you'll be able to catch the replays both in the course portal and on a private podcast channel just for group coaching members. Starting August 1st, you will be invited to join your private Facebook group with other MFR therapists who are on the same mission to create a six-figure MFR business without burning out. You will enjoy all of this for the entire length of 12 months. Create changes in your business and get continued support as you grow and change personally and professionally. Show up to the live calls and get your questions answered and get coached through any dilemma or challenge that presents itself along the way. Get support in the Facebook group and be a part of one of the best communities ever. Use the course portal and listen to the replays from every group I've ever had to help you speed through any problem you might be facing right now and move on to the next thing that you have on your list to tackle. There's zero confusion, zero drama, and zero bullshit. This is a one-time fee, 12 months of awesomeness, and you need to join right now. You have until June 30th to take advantage of the bonus offers, which include the printed workbook sent to your home, instant access to the course portal ahead of the live coaching program start date, which is August 1st, and you get that payment option of 3 payments. After June 30th, you can still enroll, but you will pay in full and you will not get the workbook sent to your home. So decide you are in now. You spend a lot of money investing in your skill set. Now invest in your business and learn how to put those skills to use. Sell MFR, understand how to set your rates, talk to clients, and get them the results that they want. Go to www.themfrcoach.com/coaching to enroll right now. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another Minisode episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. I am joined by one of my very favorite clients, Sarah Borda. She has been with me forever, and we go way back to like last year. She's here to talk about all the things we were talking before we started recording, and we were still laughing about what we were talking about, and my eyes are a little bit wet, but we're going to get through this. Sarah, why don't you tell everybody the name of your business and where you're located?
Yes. Okay. The name of my business is Body Heart Therapy, and I'm in Chester, New Jersey, and I've been in business for 20 years. celebrating 20 years this year. So
Awesome. And you're a massage therapist, right?
I am.
Okay. How long have you been doing myofascial release?
For like 18 years.
Okay. So a long time.
Yeah.
That's so good. Well, congratulations on celebrating 20 years in business. So you got into myofascial release like pretty soon into your career. How did you discover it?
I entered the massage business through sort of the emotional door, just because I had gone through a really intense divorce and I used body work as like my therapy, discovered it really, to help me through. I had 3 little kids and, didn't know what I was going to do. So I entered it because it helped me emotionally and physically. So I knew that I wanted to offer that to others when they were going through kind of a hard time. And I went to this massage therapist just to get treatment. And I was telling her my philosophy and she's like, oh, well, if you're like into the emotional thing, you should go to a John Barnes seminar. You've got to go to see this guy. So I went to my first seminar and it was like, it's like I found the treasure chest of my life,
Yeah.
and I never looked back.
That's so good. I think that must be the experience for most people that really go all in and go all in quickly. I had the same experience. Like I went to my first seminar and then I was just hooked. I was like, there was no convincing me different that was the way to go. But the funny thing is I was there with 2 other women that lived in my town. We were all massage therapists. They did not. Like it was like 1 in 3 or something. And I wonder statistically what happens to people when they go. That would be like a fun experiment to be like, did you continue on? Yes or no? And like, what were the reasons? And what's your business like now? And what's happening? Maybe an experiment I have to get into later.
Curious. It's kind of like when people come and get massage and come and get myofascial release. And, you're so like, as a therapist, you get so excited because you can feel all these changes and you can see them all. And they're like, no, nothing happened. Like that doesn't happen very often, but it does happen sometimes. And you're just like, like their awareness just isn't in that space or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, it comes down to like having clear goals. And I think goals can be so confusing for patients because they don't take the time to really ask themselves high value questions. Like, what do I want out of this? Like bare minimum baseline, and how long am I willing to give it? So it's like they're entering in there with no goals. And then also that mentality, like we all have that, like it needs to be fixed right away. Or like, what am I doing? Am I getting scammed? Is it, what's happening?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird, but yeah. So, okay. Tell us a little bit about, so I mentioned at the top of the show, like you and I have been coaching together for a while. What was going on in your business when you decided that, you're just going to like pull up, give this Heather Hommelchick a try, see what coaching was like?
Well, I was like stalking you on Instagram for a while. I was like, I know I need to work with her, but she scares me, or something, and not really, but yeah, I knew I needed to do this. And finally, I just took the plunge. I think it was the boot camp that drew me in because I was realizing that I'm so exhausted and just so overworked and really just kept rearranging my life for my clients. And I knew that like I'm 65 this year. So like, I knew that I don't want to like have this be the only thing in my life and just be recovering from the work. It's either I'm working or recovering. That's still kind of like I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm working at
There's the part where you're enjoying your life, right? And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When do you get to enjoy it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew that I needed to change, and I knew that I couldn't do it by myself. I just didn't have the bandwidth or the energy or the knowledge. And so I hopped in and I changed my rate like right away. Like that was sort of really the first thing I needed to do was change my rate. And shockingly, once I got it out there, it just kind of started rolling, The hardest part was with my existing clients, right? Not the new ones. The new ones paid it or they didn't.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, so let's talk a little bit about that, because I know for you it was painful. And I think this is the story for most people. I know from my own experience, like raising rates, like it can be very painful, we can take it very personal. And there was this fear for you in doing it of losing clients, or like being kind of like being rejected by them, or whatever you're going to make it mean if they didn't want to pay your rate. But remind us again, like what happened that very first month when you introduced the changes that you were making.
So I started with my new rate in July, and people started paying it. I was like,
People like it. What's happening?
and then in August, I offered my existing clients packages, and I was pretty generous, like really generous.
Mhm.
And they bought a lot of treatments. And
Mhm.
what I realized by that experience, these are the people I thought that would be like, what? 250, I'm not paying that,
Mhm. I'm
bye.
leaving. Yeah.
What I realized was they really wanted to work with me. Like, so in a way, it was like this sort of U-turn of like, wow, like they really value, I knew I valued working with them, right?
Mhm.
But they really value working with me, not
Yeah.
because of my price.
Yeah. I think that was such a big like eye opener, right? It wasn't actually the price, because these people were spending thousands of dollars at a time now to buy packages,
Right, right.
to the tune of what? Remind us how much you made in August.
I made $30,000 in August.
Yeah. And that was all on like discounted packages.
Correct.
Did you have any resentment towards the money like that you left on the table, quote unquote, because
Not
they
at all.
came? Yeah.
Not at all.
I think
No,
that's really important.
yeah. And for me, why that's important is that I love partnering with people, and I got one of my values showed up when they bought those packages. I was like, they really want to partner with me. Like, we can really get into something now. And
Yeah.
people have literally made quantum leaps this year.
Yes.
And they are, and the biggest leap that I see is that they realize that they need this on a regular basis to do their life, to help do their life
Yes.
the way they
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah. And I think too, like the value of this becoming like a preventative measure for
Yes.
everyone is so important, because what is the value of like not having a flare ever, or not having your back go out ever, or not having knee pain because you're continually getting the work and showing up for yourself? It's it's huge. And it's kind of like continuing with coaching, right? Like prevent, like maybe you feel fine in your business, but what happens if you prevent ever having like drama in it? Or like if you have drama, like being able to solve it right away. It's one of those things. And you made that decision really early on. You're like, I'm just going to give this a year. I'm going to ride this out.
Yeah. And the other thing is that when people are in long enough with you, they begin to get these benefits that they didn't realize they could have. They
Mhm.
start dreaming bigger. They start creating better boundaries in their lives. They
Mhm.
start realizing that they're worth it, that they are valuable to them.
Yeah.
And that's really been my message all along in my business. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't get into this for really like physical pain relief, but I didn't know that when I got into it, I didn't really realize how interconnected emotions are. And I'm super sensitive, so like emotions are a thing for me. Like, I
Mhm.
like that.
Well, you're good at like experiencing the emotions, right? You're not afraid to be in the emotion, which is super helpful. And I'm sure you process through a lot of shit quickly because you're willing to feel your feelings.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
And I
Let's
cry
talk.
with my clients. Like,
Yeah. Well, and I think when it's
human
kind of like
beings.
how John says, like, you're willing to go first, or like you can take your clients as far as you're willing to go. Like, if you're willing to cry, or if you're willing to get treated, like your clients are going to be willing to do those things too. They're going to be willing to go through it, because you're going, like, you're an example of what's possible. You're not just giving lip service to what you want someone to do.
Right, exactly.
And I wanted to bring that up to talk about like your dedication to your own self-treatment and like how, I mean, I think you've gotten more than one intensive like while we've been working together. Do you want to kind of talk about that?
Well, I mean, I've usually I've gotten one intensive a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, maybe I went a few years without doing that, but
Sure.
then I maybe like 10 years ago, I made a decision to do one intensive a year for my own health. And
Mm-hmm.
also I get like, I become such a better therapist. My awareness is so much keener. I feel things. I just move more intuitively. It just makes my job easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's a win-win-win-win, you know.
Yeah.
And so this year, because I've had some things going on for in my health, I just said, you know, screw it. I'm doing as many intensives as I can afford to, or maybe even not afford to. I've done 3 intensives already this year. Now,
Yeah. And we're in the end of May, like May 20th, 2023, and you've done 3 intensives this year.
that's correct.
Yeah, I think
And
that's super badass.
and on my 3rd one, I was away in Malvern, and my oldest son texts me and he goes like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm at my intensive." He's like, "Again?"
That's right, son. Yes.
And I'm going away in July for my 4th one.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I just think it's so cool. And also talking about it here and being willing to share it. And it gives people that like that would never occur to the opportunity to be like, oh, I don't just have to go to T4T to check the box to become expert or to check the box to then be qualified to do MFR3. Like there's so much intention behind doing it on purpose and doing it to help yourself to stay as healthy as possible so that you can show up for your clients like that. So it's really great.
It's a huge opportunity. And really, like, how many professions can you get healthier at?
By just doing your profession, by just
By just doing your
experiencing it.
profession, right? You know,
Yeah.
and get better at, and also, you know, you have business benefits to paying for an intensive.
Yeah.
There's a benefit, you know, from a profit and loss place, like
Yeah, exactly.
on both ends of it.
Yeah.
And so, and I talk, and it gives me permission to talk with my clients about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going away for it. They're like, what? Like, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I pay for a hotel. I drive 2 hours.
Mhm.
I
You have to take the week off from work
take a week off. I mean, it costs a lot.
and you're
It's a
not getting
lot.
paid vacation, right?
Oh, and I've had more of my clients sign up to do intensives with me now, right? You know,
Yeah.
they're like hearing what I'm saying and watching what I'm doing, and
Mhm.
and you're like raising their, like you said, for the massage, for the people listening, like you're raising the bar, like of
Yeah.
what's possible or what could be allowed.
Yeah. I think that's so important too. And I also want to point out that you are a massage therapist. You've had a $30,000 a month. You get regular treatment. You've had 3 T4Ts just this year. And the reason why I want to point out that you're a massage therapist is I think that sometimes us massage therapists can start to compare ourselves to people with more education and start to think that we aren't as respected or that we can't put ourselves in the same field as other MFR therapists that have other degrees. And I just want to point out that like the degree does not matter. You're going to take your skills, the skill set that you have and the training that you have everywhere you go. But as myofascial release therapists, we are learning the same skills. There's not a separate class for OTs and LMTs and PTs and doctors. We're all in the same class. And when we decide that we're equal and that when we decide that we are very good at our craft and that we can create whatever results we want with our clients is the moment we quit competing with each other as MFR therapists and we quit comparing ourselves or thinking that we're not respected. We have to give ourselves that respect. Has that come up for you at all? Or like, how do you feel like being one of the top earners in my program?
Well, I mean, it's always been intimidating to be with a PT or an OT, like, just right from the get-go, right? Because like,
But where do you think that
I
comes? Like,
remember where all
it's
those
just a
muscles.
thought, right? It's just a thought.
I know, I know. So, but even when I go to classes, I still kind of clam up a little bit. Like I get this whole performance, but when I'm here, I'm like, woo, it's like
Yeah.
so graceful and nobody.
I am a nut job at seminars too. I'm like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know.
I know. We're just being human,
Yeah,
but
we're just humans.
I mean, it's been kind of an eye opener because I really have always tried not to compare myself to other people because it's just not good for my energy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty driven as it is. Like I don't need competition from somebody else to drive me.
Yeah.
I'm better if I don't. I'm better if I don't feel like I have to. I'm better if I can do it my way, like the
Mhm.
way I want it. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. That's why I'm the only person here right now.
Yeah.
So I function better with more freedom so
Mhm.
that I don't get into like the weeds with myself because it'd be pretty easy to do. Like
Yeah, it totally
critical
would.
kind of place.
Yeah. What is your thought though about being in coaching and being with all these different like people with all different backgrounds? Have you ever noticed it to be a problem like for us to all like everybody to have different because we've had speech therapists, we've had
Not at all.
OTs, PTs,
No,
LMTs.
it's great because we all say pretty much the same. We all have sort of mostly the same fears and the same sort of experiences and thoughts around performance and money and like we're just all the same. And it's been
Yeah.
great for me to see all levels of education. And it's been great for me to learn from the new people that are coming in and
Mhm.
hearing what they're saying. And I get benefit from everybody that gets coached. It's like it's like if you've been to MFR like one for like 10 times and you go on the 11th time, you're still going to get this like amazing new awareness.
Yeah. You're probably going to learn a new technique too. Even though the techniques are the same, you'll be like, what? Did we learn this the first time?
Did I hear Heather say that on the first?
Oh my gosh, I say the same things over and over again, but I appreciate Sarah. She like always messages me and she's like, what you said today was so good. Or like thank you so much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thanks. I didn't even know if anyone was listening.
I just appreciate a
Well,
lot.
I
I appreciate all your hard work. I know
thank you.
you're working hard.
You're so sweet. You're so nice to me. Well, what would you say? Okay, so you know that the program is changing. It's going to become a 12-month program that people can join anytime. Like, what are some of you just found this out? So what are some of your thoughts about that?
I think it's so like it's so much more exquisitely fine-tuned for the needs of the group of the
Mhm.
it covers a broader spectrum of people. I think it gives people that are entering for the first time like kind of a landing pad that is maybe not as intense in a way,
Yeah.
a little more you know slow drip instead of waterfall.
Fire hose to the
Got a little
face.
overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it just gives you like I still think people can come in and in 90 days like create whatever they want
Yes,
wherever
yes.
they're at. But then it surrounds them with continued support while they go through everything that they've just laid down and like all of the things that come up once you start following your policies, raising your rates, like setting your hours, like all of the things that come after that. And as you scale to $100,000, which, my goal ultimately is for every MFR therapist to have wealth and to have their health and to help as many people as possible. And in order to do that, like I want to make this a program that it's a no-brainer for every single MFR therapist to join, for them to be like, oh, I can invest $3,000. I can have a year of help. And I'm not just going to make $3,000. I'm going to make $100,000 from this investment. And they get in and they do it. There's like once you're in, there's no reason for you not to do it. You literally would just like have to never log on or never come to a coaching call, I guess, for it not to happen.
That's true. I mean, we're specialists. We need to step into ownership for being, one of the most valuable therapies out there.
Yeah,
And
totally.
you're really helping us with our confidence level around that. You keep, reminding us like how special we are, because
Yeah,
I mean, this therapy is just like such a mind blower
it
on
is.
so many levels.
It is. I read Donna Height from coaching before. She put a quote on Instagram today, and it's one of John's quotes, and it said like myofascial release isn't an alternative therapy. It is the therapy that gets people better, like something along those lines. And it's like, yes, like, and we forget that like this isn't an alternative, it's the solution. And we need to quit playing small. We need to get out of our own way and get big in this world. There needs to be MFR therapists everywhere. Like this needs to become the normal because it is the solution to so many problems. And caveat, like we'll always need other medicine too and other
Yes.
specialties, but we can really do a lot with the skills that we have, especially if more people know about it and are seeking it out on purpose. And I just think that more people will find it if we can be financially, stable and healthy, and we're not burning ourselves out because we're out there in the world behaving like this is just a side hustle job and we're hustling to help people.
Well, when you said playing small, that we need to stop playing small, it kind of leads me to think about one of the reasons why I wanted to start coaching with you to begin with, which was I need to create more time for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want to scale down. That's the next step after my hourly rate being raised, is like cutting down my hours so that I have time on the other end to be creative, because I really like doing videos on Instagram, and I haven't had the energy or the time to do it. And when I scale my hours down, I'm going to be able to become more influential. Not that I'll be an influencer, but like more influential in getting this information out there and being creative with it, which like really is inspiring to me.
Yeah, and fun.
It feeds me in a different way than working in here, with somebody's body and mind and all that.
Well, and it creates a lot of value in the world, because then people who don't know you have this opportunity to get to know you ahead of time before they ever pay you any money. And They might actually bridge the gap between not knowing you and paying you money sooner because of the content that you put out, and they can kind of know, like, and trust you ahead of time. And for people that don't have access to you physically, are going to be educated by you, and then they can make decisions to find someone closer to them. So it just amplifies the work, whether they actually directly work with you or not.
That's right.
It's really important.
And it's a service, like it's a service, but also it serves me too, because it inspires my heart, and
yeah,
I like good. Being creative when I have, but if I'm tired, there's no juice for that.
Exactly. And I think that's another reason, like, behind the importance of the result of raising your rate. One of the other results is that, yes, you make more money, and also you don't have to work so hard. And so you don't burn out and you aren't exhausted all the time. It doesn't mean you don't still work incredibly hard at your craft, right? But there's a difference between working hard and forcing the work that you're doing, or doing it because you feel like you're not going to make enough money. And so you're like, working, not taking care of yourself, working outside of your boundary of what's healthy. So I think that's important to remember too.
Yeah. I like to think of it like I'm just, super focused when I'm doing this work here, right? Like this is my focus. And then I want to be super focused when I'm with my family or my friends or my partner or whatever on that. Exactly. I like the intensity of being super focused, but I have to have variety, or I just get so flat. Like you can feel it, right? If all you do is work, you just go.
Yeah, I agree. And I I think that's why making like your schedule super luxurious. So like when you're in working on your clients, like you pretty much love every moment of it because you've curated it to be like you're hyper focused on that. And then outside of that, like curating your life outside of that. So what does that look like when I spend time with my family? I don't want to be on my phone. I don't want to be connecting with clients. I don't want to be doing these things, and really honoring that even while it's uncomfortable, especially if it's something you've been doing. Not saying that's what you do, but a lot of other
Yeah.
people do that. I'm guilty of that too. And then, just deciding ahead of time, like I want to experience my family this way. These are the steps that it's going to take to do this. And I want to experience my business this way. And these are the steps that it's going to take to do that. And just making those decisions on purpose instead of letting life just happen to you and like getting caught up in the chaos of life.
And that's what we do when we're tired. Like our boundaries go down, like we
let things slide. And then all of a sudden we're
Yeah.
like resentful and pissed. And
it's just a slippery slope.
it is. All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share about your experience of coaching or what you would say to people if they're thinking about joining?
I mean, I think it's like really like it's kind of a no-brainer. Like just do it. You will get so much out of it. Even if you don't put 100% into it. Like I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like just do it and see what you can get from it. And I think that I think what you're doing with the two tiers is, or however you're calling it, is brilliant because it's spreading the love, spreading the love. And you have a lot to offer. And, I've watched you grow this year too. We've been watching each other grow, which is
fun. Yeah.
And I got to meet you in person in Richmond, which was super fun.
That was fun.
Great.
That was so fun. Yeah. I hope to do that like more and more. Like it is so incredible to meet people in person and like to have that like human interaction. I mean, I do feel like I get a lot of connection through the Zoom screen. Not everybody agrees with that, but in person is fun too. So we'll have to see what's next for all
it's
that.
Not, it's both and, right?
Yeah.
One or the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I have to get out of my basement sometimes.
I would say just jump in. Just jump in. Just jump in. You'll get something and it all moves into the rest of your life too.
Yeah.
Start talking to my kids like I'm their coach.
I mean, it works for so many things. Like I constantly coach my kids. I try not to coach them against their will.
Good luck.
Yeah. My sister is always like, please don't coach me, right? Sorry.
It's hard to turn it off.
It's hard to turn it off, but also like it's okay for people to figure their stuff out, right? Like I don't have to constantly coach them too. So yes, I'm learning every day, but.
Well, I did want to add one thing because I told you before we started this podcast that I was really getting into the model now a year later. And the model that you teach with the intentional model and the unintentional, like I love doing both of those together. It's so yin yang-ish, it's just so powerful.
It is.
And it's taken me, I'm not criticizing myself. I'm just saying all things in the right time. But this is another reason why, it's great to coach with you for a year because we go through these seasons of our life in a year. They always say that like when you lose somebody too, like that whole year, you're just going through this real big metamorphosis. And coaching is like that too. So I'm just really grateful I would have just paid the money for the model, like the model is so valuable because I know I'm going to use it forever. And I know I'm going to teach it I'm going to have a little class with my family sometime.
Yeah. And you're going to be like, these are your circumstances. These are neutral.
Me as a mother.
And your mother is neutral, everybody.
Anyway, so I just, there's just like, you're going to like, I'm talking to the public now, but you're going to get like these jewels that are just so surprising and they don't necessarily come like right away. It just kind of seeps in. That's why it's really good. The year thing.
I love that so much. Yeah. And the other thing I was going to say is when you first come to coaching, well, like, okay, so this is like your story, right? I remember we had a conversation where you were like, I don't understand the model. And like, I don't know if it's like a safe thing to buy into or whatever, right? Like, and I
Yeah,
was like, you know what? It's so good to question this and for me to explain it in a different way so that it makes sense and like to show you all of the freedom in the model. Like, because I think some people learn it one way and then like maybe they don't like something about it, so they shut it off. And then it becomes this rigid, like monster machine that you're like, have no subscription to, right? And if you don't subscribe to it, it's not going to help you.
right.
But then when you understand exactly how to make it work for you and what it actually is, then it unlocks the keys to the kingdom where it's like, oh, I get to experience everything exactly how I want to when I'm allowing myself to do that. I don't have to be in pain all of the time. Like I get to have all this freedom. So
Well,
I
it
know
gives you
when,
choice,
yeah.
it gives you choice. And to write it out and see it, like, you're just like, oh my God, I didn't know that was really what I was thinking. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't know how influential that little thought is.
Yeah. Yeah. Like one of the things for me, one of the reoccurring thoughts I've had in my life that was given to me by somebody else was that people either liked me or they hated me. And I brought that everywhere with me. And so I was constantly on high alert and constantly people pleasing, constantly behaving in ways that were not me to try to influence people to like me, right? Because it felt like there was so much at stake. And the minute I found out 3 years ago that that was optional, it changed everything for me. Everything. I finally got to be me. And
Yeah.
people, it turns out like it's more than 50-50 if people like me or not, but I like me all of the time. That's the difference.
You're showing up for yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. It's crazy though, how like one thought that someone else can give you can be that influential if you don't know and have awareness about how dumb that thought is, or like thoughts like I'm not good at money, or I'm not smart, or it takes me a long time to do things, or I don't know how to do technology. Like there's a lot of thoughts that people have over and over again. These are like thoughts that come up all the time in coaching. And it's like, who cares if something takes you a long time? Like, why are we punishing ourselves? Like, why is that a problem?
Right. Right. I love it. That's so great.
Yeah.
So
All right.
great.
Well, I love having you in coaching. It's so fun to share your story. And um, I also think it's really cool to have massage therapists being top earners in this program. I'm very proud of that. I also love PTs and OTs and speech therapists. Like I love everybody and I want everybody to win. But I just want to especially point that out that you don't have to have a doctoral degree in order to make money doing myofascial release. And you can do so much good work out in the world. So keep doing it. And no matter how far you are in your business, this is the other thing I wanted to point out, and I almost forgot, it was like 20 years into your business, and you were like, I could do this better, right? There's a lot of people out there that think they know it all, and they're not going to be willing to have that idea like, oh, maybe I could do this better. Maybe this could be easier. And so for anyone that's listening to this that possibly has that thought, like use Sarah as an example of what's possible. She's 65 years old and she does it. She decided she didn't know it all. And like some chick from Minnesota could help her like it better. And I
Well,
want to help you
also,
too.
for the first time in my life, I feel like I want to have everything that I want to have.
Yeah. Oh, tell us some of the things that you're creating for
I'm
yourself.
getting a new kitchen right now. I had a 1950s kitchen, although I did have some new countertops on the old cabinets. But now I'm getting a really amazing, beautiful $70,000 kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
My
I
little,
hope you
it's not,
share
I
pictures.
don't have a big house. So, that's a lot of money.
It's
And
a
it's
fancy
in my
kitchen.
new deck too. So like now my whole life is going to open up. I can start entertaining because I was a little like,
Mhm.
and so that's happening. I'm getting ready to be a grandmother twice in the next 4 months.
Oh my gosh, that's so
All these
exciting.
things are all, it's a really like ripe time of my life, but and along with that, it's a bit bittersweet in some ways too. But I think if you're a mother, it's just all a little bittersweet.
Yes. I'm getting ready to have a senior graduate. Yep, I get it. And I am just like imagining like what it like the next phase after that is like marriage and babies or whatever. Maybe not marriage and babies. Maybe babies. I don't know, whatever happens.
But I think your program has given me permission, I would say, and because I need permission sometimes for things,
Mhm.
to believe that I'm worthy enough to have the life that I really want. And I'm recreating like a whole nother, like big third of my life moving
Mhm.
forward. Like I'm thinking of the last third of my life. But it's going to be the best third.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be sad or like, oh, I'm getting older, so now I can't enjoy this, right? Like it could literally be the best part of your life. And you get to knit it together and craft it however you want.
I have so much freedom. And back to the intensives, I feel like the intensives are like front loading my old age.
Yes, that's so good.
It's because like people come in and they're my age and they sit down and I could swear they're like 90.
Mhm.
You
Well,
know,
they probably feel like they are, right?
I've
Like
never had any myofascial release. Like I've had 50 hours this year, like maybe 45. And I still want more.
yeah. That's really incredible. And to start to see the difference in the movement, like in how you can move your body
Yeah.
and how maybe someone in the exact same circumstances, the exact same age, most people wait until they're in pain to do anything about it. But like I said, like what if this just becomes a preventative journey that we all decide to get on? Like you don't have to rust out like John always says, like you don't have to do these things if you're willing to explore something that works. So
Like why wouldn't I want to do something that makes my job easier and better,
mhm.
gives me better results at work, makes me feel better at home, helps me feel younger, I move younger. Like why wouldn't I want to do that? Like
Exactly. I don't know. I think some people's objections are like, well, I don't have the money to spend, but I kind of like to look at investing in myself in a way, like even when I don't physically have the cash, like I will use debt to get what I need ahead of time. I'll rent money to get what I need. And whenever I invest money in something, I always expect to get 2 to 10 times my investment out of it. And if that means like I'm investing in my body so that I don't like become bedbound later on, like I'm going to make more
oh
money
yeah,
in a lot, I'm
yeah.
going to make more money. I'm going to enjoy everything better. My kids are going to have a different experience of me. My grandkids are going to have a different experience of me. My husband's going to have a different experience of me. Like it just makes everything better. So for people that get stuck on like the money part, it's like, do you know what you're actually buying? And do you know what you're saying? No. Do you know what you're saying you can't afford? Like you can't afford to be healthy.
But I'm the asset.
Yeah, you're the asset.
I'm the asset and I have to take care of the asset.
Mhm.
It's like my kitchen. I would have at the end of the day, I would have had seen that $70,000 in my bank account. Oh, that feels so good. And and now I'm just trading one asset for the other asset.
Yeah.
But I get to live in that asset.
You get
Like
to
I can't
enjoy,
live
yeah,
in looking at a number in my bank account, but I can live dynamically and relationships can flourish and
yeah,
children can be in there and I can have company and have my new boyfriend in there and all these things. And like I'm the asset. I got to take care of the asset.
I
Yeah.
love that. So that's such a good quote. I am the asset. Let's have like all MFR therapists start saying that about themselves. That's
It's
so good.
true. It's
Yeah,
true.
so good. All right, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Maybe this isn't so mini of a mini-sode, but that's okay because it's very valuable. People, you're
Whatever.
welcome, everybody. Can you tell people where they can find you? Did we already do that?
Yeah. Well,
You give
we
your website?
Body Heart, I'm at bodyhearttherapy.com or myofascial_heal Sarah on Instagram. I think that's my
Okay.
name.
Okay, perfect. I don't think we gave that out yet. Hey, you
Yeah.
guys, like we're not editing this at all. So you're just seeing the raw, rough
Oh, you're not?
No, we're not editing this, but that's like the fun thing about it. Like the podcast is edited. I have an editor. She is so awesome, but also like we're doing a great job just doing this, just having a chat.
Yeah, we are. No cat walking through though.
That's right. I had a cat walking through earlier today and it made my day. So you guys will get to see that soon. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for your time.
Love you. Take care.
Yeah, love you too. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on another episode, and I'll see you on another one soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me today. My mission is to help every MFR therapist become a part of the movement where no MFR therapists ever under-earn or burn out. Join my 12-month coaching program. You'll spend the first 90 days setting up your foundation to create your six-figure business. Then you'll go to work and uncover exactly what's holding you back from the business that you want and desire. Get support while you raise your rates, set your policies, and learn how to talk about MFR and how to sell MFR in service of your clients. Learn exactly how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town and even if you've had your business for years. This program is open to all MFR therapists who want to create what is possible when you stop playing small and start showing up in your full power as the John Barnes trained MFR therapist you are. Put your magic to work in the world and help more people get out of pain and back to active lifestyles. I'll help you do it. Go to www.themfrcoach.com/coaching and sign up right now.